Hey guys, this is a little impromptu because I don't normally do movies that have just come out, but I happened to see this film and I really wanted to talk about it. This is going to be formatted like my underrated excavations because honestly, I think that's what this movie is going to end up being, although I'm hoping I'm wrong. But that means we're going to have a spoiler free section, followed by a spoiler section, followed by a hopes and dreams for the future section. I really hope you guys don't listen to the spoiler section if you haven't actually seen the movie, because I will be discussing what the movie said and did that I genuinely enjoyed. And I really want you guys to go see it. So, okay, spoiler free section. Yesterday is a movie that has been advertised as a straight up comedy or perhaps a science fiction film. Everybody seems to have a different opinion of it because it's not entirely clear. If I had to categorize it, I would say it's a character study with comedy, romance, and some science fiction elements, though not many. Please do not go see this movie expecting a really in-depth time travel concept or a rip-roaring laugh a second. It's really fun and really well done, but it's neither of those things. It's just trying to tell a story, an interesting discussion on what this character is or is not doing, as well as the people around him in this unusual situation. The two main things I can say in favor of this story is that, one, it is really well presented. I really liked the characters. I really liked the dilemma. I really enjoyed the interplay. The actors are all doing amazing jobs of what they're getting. One in particular I really want to shout out when I get to the spoiler section because I didn't actually think she could pull off what she did. I mean, every actor deserves praise, don't get me wrong, but this particular actress had a very hard character to sell that would make me like them because they're the exact opposite of what I normally like. And yet she actively managed to pull it off, which is really surprising to me. The second positive thing I can say about it is that the way they approach the material, without giving away spoilers, is legitimately surprising. I could barely predict anything in this story, and how they get to the things I did predict was completely surprising. But, like any good story should do, every decision makes sense. It's just not what I would have expected given the premise. The main drawback I can say about this movie is that if you are expecting a rip-roaring comedy, or you are expecting a really well-presented time travel, alternate history concept, you're going to be disappointed. Like I said, this is a character study. It's meant to talk about this particular character in a very unique situation and ask you what you would do. And that's all it's doing. Please don't take this as a condemnation. Please take it as an applause. I want people to go see this. But I don't want you to go in and be disappointed because you were expecting something different. Okay, let's get to spoilers. The basic premise of this movie is, as I mentioned, that this guy wakes up in an alternate reality where the Beatles never existed. First of all, I should point out the Beatles isn't the only thing that's different. In the movie, we discover that cigarettes, Coca-Cola, and Harry Potter also don't exist. However, none of these things missing actually affected history at all. Everything is exactly the way it was. Or, to be more accurate, everything is really close to the way it was. However, that isn't the important discussion topic. What the movie is actually talking about is how this character, who is an aspiring singer and songwriter but just can't catch a break, feels suddenly having all of the Beatles songs in his head, or at least most of them, and being able to pass them off as his own. The question that's raised in this is it wrong to introduce the Beatles' music? I mean, none of the Beatles in this universe ever actually wrote those songs. But the songs themselves are amazing. So why not present them? Why not let the world have them back? And he has been desperate his entire life to achieve some semblance of success. And suddenly presenting all the Beatles songs is almost a guarantee that his career will take off. Now, the part that I predicted, and this is a massive Massive spoilers, so please don't watch any further if you haven't watched the movie and don't want spoilers. But the thing I did predict is that at the end of the movie, he would eventually go back to his small town and realize he was better off living his own life. But honestly, I didn't see how they got there coming at all. Everything about it surprised the hell out of me. So, this guy has a small group of friends who all know him as that aspiring singer songwriter. They all, especially his closest friend, this woman, all believe in him, but also know his dream is probably a pipe dream. He'll probably never achieve success. But is it okay to claim them as his own? It's not like the actual Beatles are going to complain, and none of them even know they wrote these songs, but still, it's complicated. The theme is uncertainty. At no point during the story is any of the characters, especially the main character, certain about anything. They're never sure what they should do next. They're never certain whether or not they're doing the right thing. They're never sure where their focus should be. They're never sure if they're making the right call. And that's legitimately heartbreaking because I think almost all of us can relate to that. We all have stages in our life where we're just not certain. Nothing in life is certain. But eventually you have to make a decision and live with the consequences. And that's what this movie is all about. The only character in the whole film that is certain is the agent. Now, this is actually the actress I want to call out because the agent's lines are so blatantly slimy. Like, normally I actively don't like characters that are this blatantly slimy. But somehow the actress pulls it off. Like, every one of her lines that was just so horrendous either had me chuckling or legitimately heartbroken. She thinks this guy, the main character, is basically a Beethoven for pop music, him coming up with all these Beatles songs one after another. And honestly, she treats him like crap. The thing that makes her certain, though, is that she's sure that because she's obsessed with the money, he would be too. Money and power and success are awfully tempting lures. But by the end of the movie, she's the one that turns out to be completely wrong. She always expected that he would just go along with it, and even though he's offering many, many hints that he's uncertain about this being the right path for him, she is still genuinely surprised at his change of heart. So in her case, she should have been a little uncertain about things. There are so many other themes that all tie into the concept of uncertainty. For example, the modern music industry or entertainment industry in general in Hollywood is so about image over actual concept that everything they try to do to the Beatles songs is, for lack of a better way of putting it, turning them from art or entertainment into a product, something that can be sold, even though it damages the actual core of what those songs and concepts are meant to be. There are several moments in the movie where someone points out that the song doesn't really fit. I mean, it's still a great song, but it doesn't feel like it's set for a modern audience. Or they changed a key word in a song that was meant to make it very, very personal and now makes it more everybody's kind of song. But since the writer in this universe, the main character, actually doesn't know all the origins of the emotion and concepts behind these songs, since he didn't originally write them, he tends to go along with it, believing that the corporates must know what they're talking about. Again, uncertainty. The people in this movie who are certain are almost universally wrong, and the people who are uncertain, but they usually end up making the right decision in the end. It's really well done. I love the way this theme is presented. One thing I should say is that if you're wondering if we'll ever get an explanation about why the Beatles and the other things disappeared from history, it's never given to us. But don't be upset by that. It's exactly what the story needed. Again, uncertainty. Even the audience doesn't know why this is happening. The universe just decided to write this stuff out. You're going to have to accept that because it's what the story's talking about. I should comment that I never failed to laugh at any of the jokes. They all landed for me, and everybody else who was in the movie screening with me laughed too, at all the appropriate times. It's very British humor, where it flaunts between snark and cringe humor, which again I normally hate, but it actually works in this film. Also, they have a massive cameo by Ed Sheeran, which is legitimately awesome. I didn't realize he was that good of an actor, to be honest. And, well, it's all around great. I really can't say enough. The big change to this timeline as a result of the Beatles never coming together as a group, well, I'm not going to spoil that for you. It's genuinely emotional and funny, especially if you are a fan of the Beatles. Which is something else I should clarify. This is not a musical. It's not. I've heard some people wonder if it might be like Mamma Mia, where it's using Beatles songs in a modern day context for the story. It's not. Although there is a lot of Beatles songs in it, basically covers of almost all of them, it's not a musical. And the songs in question are some of the best the Beatles ever made. But you don't have to be a Beatles fan to enjoy it. I've listened to a lot of the Beatles music, but I was never a huge Beatle fan. But this actively inspired me to go back and listen to their albums. I cannot recommend Yesterday enough. It's just a very well presented personal journey of someone caught in a very unusual circumstance. Please go see it. I do not want this to become an underrated excavation. I don't want this to not achieve greatness. The actors are all delivering. The director does a great job. And the story is well presented. These people deserve to be applauded for their work. So honestly, I just want it to get seen in theaters. I want people to watch this. All right. Like I said, I don't do this kind of review often. Don't expect it to become a regular thing unless this video becomes massively popular. I hope you all go see this movie, and until next time, I'll see you down the road.